You know, a family hike in a beautiful state park is supposed to be about making memories. But sometimes it ends in a way that's just inexplicable. A brutal crime. But even inside that darkness, an incredible story of heroism can emerge. Today, we're going to walk through the Devil's Den murders. We're going to piece together the facts of the case, not just to understand what happened, but to really confront the deep, unsettling mystery that it left behind. This quote from the Brink family, it just says it all, doesn't it? It gets right to the very heart of this story. It tells you that beyond the awful crime, this is a story about sacrifice. And to really get what happened, we have to start with the people at the center of it all, Clinton and Kristen Brink. All right, so first, let's just lay out the core facts. What exactly unfolded on that terrible day in the park? The basic facts here are as stark as they are heartbreaking. Clinton and Kristen Brink were out hiking with their 2 young daughters when they were attacked and killed. The most critical detail, really the only sliver of light in this whole tragedy, is that their kids, just 7 and 9 years old, were found physically unharmed. Now, what authorities pieced together later about Kristen Brink's final moments? Well, it reveals an act of almost unbelievable bravery. In the face of something truly unimaginable, her actions had one single focus: saving her children. According to law enforcement, the attack actually started with Clinton Brink. Now, this is a really crucial detail because it means his wife, Kristen, was suddenly faced with an impossible split-second choice, and her choice was immediate. Her very first instinct was to get her daughters out of there, guiding them roughly half a mile away from the danger. And it was only after she knew they were safe that she made the heroic, unthinkable decision to turn back, running towards the attack to try and save her husband. So the discovery of the Brinks and their unharmed children, well, that triggered an immediate and incredibly intense manhunt for their killer. And it put the entire state of Arkansas on high alert. For 5 days, for 5 whole days, the community and the state were just on edge. 5 days of a massive search, with investigators working around the clock, chasing down every single lead they could to find the person responsible. And the public response was just overwhelming. More than 500 tips poured in from people who were desperate to help. This wasn't just a police search. It was a community in shock, and they were determined to find justice for the Brink family. The 5-day manhunt finally came to an end. But not in the wilderness of the park, which is what you might expect. No, it ended in a very public place, a barbershop in Springdale, about 30 miles away. A suspect was taken into custody right there, without any incident. Okay, so an arrest has been made. The focus now shifts from finding a person to building a case. So, who was this guy, and what evidence did the police actually have against him? The suspect was identified as Andrew James McCann, and the profile that came out was just deeply unsettling. He was a 28-year-old former schoolteacher, no criminal record, no documented history of mental illness. On paper, he was completely unremarkable, which makes the crime he was accused of even harder to wrap your head around. So on one hand, you have this profile of a normal schoolteacher, but on the other, police put together a mountain of evidence. They had a DNA match from the crime scene, apparently he got injured during the attack, plus they had what they called an admission, and they found incriminating items at his house. And this is where the case takes its most chilling turn. This statement from the Arkansas State Police introduces the most baffling element of all: randomness. There was no connection, no prior relationship, no robbery gone wrong, just a family on a hike and a man who, for no reason anyone can find, decided to attack them. And that brings us to the final part of this explainer, the question that just hangs over this entire case even after they made an arrest. So this is where things stand. You know, the classic questions of any crime, the who, the what, and the how, they're all answered. But the most fundamental question, the why, it is a complete and total blank. The absence of any motive, robbery, revenge, anything, it all points to the most terrifying conclusion of all, that this was just a truly random act of violence. And that's the question this case really leaves us with. For the community, for law enforcement, and for us, it forces a difficult reflection. We're wired to look for reasons, to try and make sense of the senseless. But what does it mean for our understanding of justice and safety when a motive, that fundamental why, just isn't there? It's a chilling thought to end on.